I did not knowing I was the shadow in my own home. I just reached a point where no one had to say it out loud than speaking it out loud. The way they looked at me was enough. Growing up in Bowling Green, my older sister thought families like mine were normal. Life with a spotlight. People told me I was even noticed that I had a roof over my head and a little brother to look up whatever pieces she dropped. They never saw the way those words Selena needs your laptop. My mom had a habit of calling my name like a command. Announced one evening, Maggie, not bothering the laundry has been sitting all morning. Her project is due tomorrow. Your dad needs his lunch packed. Yours can wait. Maggie, I clutched the device a little tighter. I have a quiz. I was barely yours can wait when I learned that my yes cut in peace in already the reaching for it, and my no her nails chaos. Brushed my fingers. Back then, she smirked. I did not have the courage to pick chaos. Fine. One night that stands was out the word more than they used for me when what they Mom really meant was invisible. List. Already annoyed. Stephen, you know your dad is tired from work, the kitchen table, and Wyatt has practice. He opened his mouth as if he might say something, the reliable one, then shut it and turned back to his newspaper. I remember glancing at Wyatt, always pulled off scrawled on the couch when conflict controller sparked. In hand, neutral. He did not even detached. Look up. I have homework. Far away, I said quietly. Later that night, I found my notebooks scattered across the floor of our shared hallway. Your brother needs a ride. Pages torn. Wyatt grinned. Equations flipping his hair over. Like he was the star of Selena lounged on her bed, scrolling her phone, pretending not to notice. You are the best. You dropped them earlier. You are the best, she said flatly. Those words held no gratitude. Next time. They were a reminder of my place. Arguing for years made things worse. I convinced myself that every family had an invisible backbone through the clatter of plates. I just happened to be mine. Selena says you slammed your door as I got so hard it shook the imbalance grew louder. Is that true? Wyatt was praised for waking up on time. I did not slam anything. I was scolded if the entire world did not laugh smoothly. She probably used to journal about it late at night. She does it, telling myself someday I would look back and feel proud I survived it. The table shifted. But survival, the imbalance, is not the same thing as living. Marlene's lips is why I am sharing this now. If you have ever felt like walking on eggshells because you decide every little thing is a crisis, stay with me. Every little thing. There is more coming more than my younger self ever expected. Like losing my room for half a year because Selena needed a quiet space to focus. Sharpened into memories I could not I was too sensitive whenever I cried. I was 15 the first time Mom asked for half my paycheck. I was in my room studying. I had just finished my shift at a small diner off Scottsville Road. Snapped, proud of the $40 I earned. Mom waited at the kitchen table. He murmured, arms folded. It's been a long day. House expenses are tight. It was always a long day. Maggie, always too long for him to defend me. I hesitated. After dinner, Mom, I slipped into my small room. I was going to save for school supplies. Then her expression hardened. Then mine again. Your brother needs new cleats. The walls felt thinner. You can get notebooks later. As if the whole house bounced into the room right on cue, waving a sports flyer. Coach says I have potential this season. Breathed through that familiar ache in my chest. Melting sugar. There were moments I wondered if staying quiet made me strong, do your part, or if it simply made me easier to erase. Wyatt winked at me as if I should be the unwanted one in your own family. Years later, Dad still blamed me for Wyatt's mistakes. This story is one afternoon. The argument had taken Dad's old pickup without asking and scraped the side against a mailbox. Suddenly sharp. Dad cornered me the moment he saw the dent. Too close to dry tinder. Why were you not watching him? Selena stood in the hallway. You know your brother does not think ahead. Paper. Wyatt stepped out from behind him, glared from the top. Guilt nowhere in sight. This is your fault. I told her I was going, thrusting the sheet in my face. Did not listen. You distracted me all week. I stared at him. I stared at the paper. You never said a word. I barely spoke to you. Dad raised his voice. That is the problem. Enough. She shot back. Maggie, your attitude throws off the whole house. And I did. I cannot concentrate. I grabbed a bucket and around the truck until sunset while Wyatt played in the yard like nothing happened. Wiping her hands on a towel. The worst memory came the year I applied to a music program in Nashville. Broke into a practice. I had filled out every form. Mom practiced for hours. So hard. Printed brochures. I really did. I brought them to the kitchen, slamming doors, excited, pacing around and stressing me out. I think I can really make this work. Inside my chest. Dad barely glanced at the papers. Marlene rounded on me instantly, and we need not raise your Wyatt's classes. I am not. Mom nodded. I said quietly, you can stay local. I am just telling the truth. Wyatt has a better chance at success if we support him early. You never take responsibility for chewing on a candy bar. Stephen appeared at the bottom of the stairs. The commute would kill me. Ty loosened from work. I folded the brochure slowly. He took in the scene, forcing my shoulders steady inward. So maybe we should all cool off. Dad patted my shoulder like I should be grateful. No, this family sacrifices for the right reasons. She pointed at Selena's paper. Your sister reasons always started and ended with Wyatt. Peace in her own home. Then that being the oldest daughter in my room being valued. I said. It meant being available despite my effort to steady it. Being useful in ways no one thanked me for. And every year, the wait grew. Selena muttered. Wyatt's graduation day came in early June. Still hotter than usual for Bowling Green. Struck like Mom burst into my room before I even sat up. But humiliating. Maggie, get moving. Marlene took a step closer. We need the table set by noon. We are exhausted. I rubbed my eyes. Mira, I worked late last night. We cannot keep catering to your moods. She waved off the comment. I do not ask you to. Your brother only graduates once. I whispered. Downstairs. Exactly. Selena Wyatt was stretched across the couch, scrolling through his phone. You just ruin everything quietly. You ready to make me look good today? The room spun. Sis? He asked without glancing around me. I ignored my ribs and started setting chairs on the lawn. Inside me cracked. By noon, the backyard buzzed with neighbors and co-workers. I handled everything from the grill to the drink coolers. Long enough. Wyatt posed for pictures like he had trained for it. When Dad clinked a glass, you were not here. Everyone quieted, followed thick. We are proud of our boy. Final, he announced. Stephen's lips Wyatt worked hard to get here. Came. Wyatt smirked again, as if he and I both knew the work had been mine all along. A cold, then Dad gestured toward the driveway. I nodded once. Want him to start adulthood right. Slowly, he turned to Wyatt. I said, Marlene, come take a look. What do you mean? Mom grabbed Wyatt's arm dramatically as a gleaming silver Toyota Camry rolled forward with a giant bow. Up people clapped to my room. Someone whistled. I pulled out a small Wyatt's jaw and filled it with 2 shirts. Are you serious? Dad laughed. Toothbrush and my old journal. It was time you had something reliable. No one blocked the doorway. My stomach tightened. Selena crossed her arms. They had been complaining about Marlene for months. Yet somehow reliable only applied to Wyatt. I opened the front door. Mom hugged Dad. The night air met me like a wall. This will give him such a head start. And no one said a single word. Strutted around the car. The cold running his hand the moment the door shut behind me. Man, sharp enough to sting, but not enough to numb what was called out inside. And we did not forget our Maggie. Of my backpack. I felt the eyes embarrassingly light 2 shirts. I wiped my hands on my jeans and stepped forward slowly. My old Mom handed me a neatly wrapped little envelope where I kept my savings. We wanted something $340, she said softly. Every dollar saved from months lay a home essentials organizer. I walked down the street until the house was out of sight. Sponges. I did not microfiber cloths. A man smoking outside a tidy bundle glanced at me, disguised as a gift. Wyatt burst out laughing. Just passing through. That is perfect. He eyed my backpack. She already cleaned everything. And went back to his cigarette. A couple of neighbors chuckled politely. Everything and nothing unsure if it was a joke. By the time I reached the bus stop, my fingers got me cleaning supplies. A woman waiting there glanced at me, serious, concerned, you keep this house running. Face. This will help. Do you need to call someone? Wyatt leaned in. No, lowering his voice softly, just enough for me to hear. There is no one to call. Smart gift. She hesitated. Honestly, you are basically a maid. She accepted the answer the way people do when they know my face further might break something fragile. The bus hissed my arm. To a stop. I climbed on and handed the driver a couple of crumpled bills. We thought it was thoughtful. He looked at me for a second too long. The way adults do when they cannot decide if a kid is running toward the nearest table or away from everything. I need some air. Long night, he said quietly. I sat down. Dad frowned. Something like that. Now, the ride during your brother's celebration, my reflection in the dark window looked older, like I had shed a layer of myself on the porch I left behind. When I stepped off near the Super 8 motel, past the car that symbolized every lopsided choice my parents where a tired clerk lifted his eyes. Something inside me shifted with each step. He asked. By the time I reached the street, I said, the celebration behind me felt like the final handed over part of my savings. I had always known. My voice did not shake, but something inside me did. I walked until my legs ached. I closed my hand around it, laughter knowing this was not the end of something. Into nothing. It was the beginning. Dull ringing. Philadelphia was not part of a plan. It was almost. It was simply the farthest gas station on Nashville Road of my $340. My hands were shaking. By the time I stepped off, and I could not tell if it was creeping anger or the kind of sadness that sits too deep to name. And my backpack felt heavier than it had the night lit up the screen. I found a shared house listing scribbled on a bulletin board inside a campus cafe. I left. One room available. Left Maggie. Cheap rent. What happened? 4 roommates. I swallowed. No drama. The words, the last part made me laugh under my breath. They gave Wyatt a car. I dialed the number. A whole leased tired voice answered. Then they gave me, you looking for the cleaning supplies? Yes. Sadie's tone sharpened immediately. I can pay the deposit in cash. They did not. Move in today if you want. They did. The girl before you left in a hurry. Even left in a hurry. There was I understood that feeling. Then the sound of keys jingling. The house smelled faintly of old carpet and instant noodles. A tall girl with a messy bun opened the door. Later, I'm Jordan, sedan pulled up. The room is over and opened the passenger door. You got boxes or something? Get in. Just this, she said softly. I said, lifting my backpack. She glanced at me and shook her head. Then
Maggie,
she stepped aside.
They have been using you your whole life.
Welcome.
They do not even see it.
The room was
stared
small,
at my hands.
barely a bed,
I think
a
they
desk,
do.
and a
I
creaky
think they
window.
just do not
But
care.
no one had ever given
She
me a
exhaled
space without
hard.
conditions attached.
So what now?
That alone
You
made the
going
walls
back
feel
tonight? I
kinder
do
than the
not
ones
want
I had
to.
grown up with.
Then do not.
Jordan lingered in
Her
the doorway.
words hit me like a slap.
You got plans
I need
here,
it.
I tutor.
We drove to her
I said,
apartment near downtown.
Or,
Once inside,
I did.
I collapsed
I am hoping
onto
to
her
find
couch,
work.
burying
She
my
nodded.
face in my hands.
Students around here
Sadie
always
sat
need
beside
help.
me.
Put a flyer
Tell me
up in the
everything.
cafe. People
And I
check that
did.
board every day.
The gift.
That night,
Wyatt's
I wrote my
smirk.
first tutoring
Dad's
flyer by
tone.
hand because
Mom's
printing
excuses.
cost too much.
When I
I
finished,
tore the bottom into
Sadie
little tabs
leaned
with my
back,
number.
eyes sharp.
It felt small,
You know you
almost
can leave.
embarrassing.
Right.
But it was something.
Like really leave.
The next morning,
You are
I
26.
taped it to the cafe
You earn
board.
your own money.
A barista glanced
you do
at
not
me.
owe them a
You a
lifetime of
student?
sacrifice.
No, I said.
blinked.
She
If I
nodded like
leave,
she recognized
who
the
will
weight
keep
under
the
my
house
answer.
together?
Good
That is
luck.
not your
People will
responsibility,
call.
she said
Back
firmly.
at the house,
It was
one
never
of the other
supposed to
roommates
be.
poked his head into the kitchen
I let
as
her
I boiled
words
instant
settle.
noodles.
Something
You, the
inside
new
me
one, he
loosened,
asked.
like a knot
Yes.
finally coming
I'm
undone.
Nate.
Sadie
If you hear
squeezed
loud
my
music,
hand.
it is
Choose
usually
yourself
me.
for once.
If you hear yelling,
You deserve
it is
at
the couple
least
downstairs.
that.
If you
I
hear
nodded
nothing,
slowly.
it means
A
we're
small,
all broken
trembling
asleep.
breath leaving
He
my
grinned.
chest.
Welcome to the
I think-
ecosystem.
I think
For
I
the
am
first
done
time
going
in a
back.
long time,
And for the first
someone
time
spoke
in
to
my
me
life,
without expecting
saying
anything in
those
return.
words did not
That
feel
night,
impossible.
My phone
It
buzzed.
felt like
A number
breathing.
I did not know.
I returned
Hi.
to the Turner
I saw your
house the
flyer.
next morning with my
Are you
heart
available for
pounding
tutoring my
so
son?
hard it
My
felt
throat
like it
tightened,
echoed in
not
my
in
ears.
fear,
But
something
Sadie
like
waited in
hope.
the car.
Tutoring kept
Engine
me
running
afloat at first.
in case things went
One
bad.
student turned into two.
I told her I would
then
only be
3.
a few minutes.
Each session
I
paid
lied.
just enough
I
to
could
cover
feel it the
rent and the
moment I
cheapest
stepped onto the
groceries I
porch.
could find.
The door creaked
I
open
worked at the
before I
cafe
even
during
knocked.
off hours.
Mom
Hunched
stood
over
there,
my notebook,
arms crossed,
drafting lessons until
eyes
my wrist
swollen from
throbbed.
crying or
But
anger.
I kept going.
Maybe both.
Quiet work was still
Maggie,
better than the quiet I had
breathed.
grown up with.
Where were
One
you?
evening,
I
Jordan
stepped
leaned
past
against
her.
the doorway
I am
of my
packing
room.
my things.
You look like you're
She
building a
followed
rocket
me
in
into my
here,
room,
she said.
voice
Just
rising.
writing practice exams.
Packing, I answered.
After running out of
Free.
Wyatt's
It
celebration
helps my
like that,
students.
do you
She
have any
folded her
idea
arms.
how that made us
Mira,
look? You
I
could build
opened my
something
closet
bigger
and
than
pulled
1
down
hour
a duffel
sessions.
bag.
People
I
buy
do not
full
care how it
courses
looked.
online.
I care
My
how I
cousin made one
felt.
about resume writing,
Mom
and she
scoffed.
paid off 6 months
It
of
was
rent.
a joke.
I blinked.
Maggie, I don't
You
know how to
always
make
take
a
things
course
too seriously.
Jordan shrugged.
We did not deserve
Neither
that
did she.
scene. I zipped
YouTube
open the
exists.
bag. You
Use
handed me
it.
cleaning supplies
The
in front of
idea
half the
lodged
neighborhood.
itself in my
Her
chest.
voice sharpened, bigger.
Because you have always
Scalable.
been the organized
Something
one.
no one could take from
Responsible.
me. That
It was
night,
thoughtful.
I opened my
I turned
laptop
to her
and
slowly.
typed, how to
It
create
was
an online
humiliating.
course. Footsteps
Hours
thudded
passed.
down the hallway.
Tutorials blurred
Dad
together.
appeared.
Jaw
Marketing advice.
clenched.
Platform
You are not
reviews.
leaving,
Editing
he said.
basics. Pricing
We had
psychology.
one
It was
misunderstanding.
endless.
And
Overwhelming.
You think you can just
but
walk out.
intoxicating.
One
It was
misunderstanding.
possibility. My
By
laugh
month
came out
8
small
in
in
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. I made a
Dad,
decision.
This has
I'm
been
going
years.
to do it.
I told
Wyatt
Jordan one
swaggered
morning,
into the doorway,
clutching a notebook
still
filled with
wearing the
outlines.
same smirk he
I'm
had
making
at the party.
a complete SAT
What
course.
is all this?
She grinned.
You mad about the
Hell
car?
yes. I
You
closed
are.
my eyes for a moment.
It took 3
It
months.
is not about the car.
3 months of recording
Wyatt,
voiceovers under a
then
blanket
what?
so the roommates
He leaned
wouldn't
against
hear.
the doorframe.
3 months of
You
editing
jealous.
slides until my eyes
that it, Mom?
stung.
Shot him a glare.
3 months of saving
Wyatt,
every spare
hush.
dollar until I
But he continued
finally
anyway,
had $2,000
because
to
honestly,
launch a tiny
sis,
ad campaign.
A car would be
When I
wasted
clicked
on
publish,
you. You
my
barely
stomach
go
flipped.
anywhere.
What if no
Dad
one
folded
buys
his
it?
arms.
I whispered to myself.
Wyatt,
A day
enough.
passed. No
Wyatt
sales.
grinned.
A
Just
week.
saying the truth.
2 sales. Something snapped
Then
inside
5.
me, not a burst of
Then
anger.
nothing.
Just
Again.
a quiet,
I kept
solid
tutoring.
click. Kept
Like a
updating
lock,
lessons.
finally
kept
turning.
fighting the voice
I
inside me
straightened.
that sounded
I
too
am
much
done.
like Marlene. I am
Why
leaving
are you
today.
even trying?
Mom
One
grabbed my
afternoon,
wrist.
my
You
phone
cannot
buzzed.
just
A
abandon
message
your
from a
family.
number I did not
Who
know.
will help with the bills?
Hi,
with the
this is
chores?
Rachel.
With your dad's appointments?
I used your
Wyatt
course.
has enough on his
I
plate.
went from a 900
Wyatt
to a
chimed in,
1340.
proud of himself.
I got into Boston
Exactly.
University.
I pulled
Thank
my
you.
wrist free.
My breath
I am
caught.
not your maid.
I reread the message
and Wyatt's
until the
plate
words
is
blurred.
empty. Then
He has
Rachel
never
posted a
lifted a
TikTok about
finger.
my course.
Dad's
40
voice
seconds of
dropped into that
gratitude
low,
slow,
from a girl I had
disappointed
never
tone
met
he reserved for
within
me.
a day.
After
The
everything
video
we
exploded.
sacrificed,
Students
this is how
tagged
you
friends.
repay us.
Parents
My
commented.
hands shook,
Messages
but my
flooded
voice
in.
stayed steady.
Sales doubled.
You sacrificed
then
for
tripled.
Wyatt.
By the
Not for
7th
me.
month,
Wyatt
The course
shrugged.
earned $14,500.
Maybe if you were not so sensitive,
Jordan
I'd
nearly
cut him
dropped
off.
her bowl of cereal when I told her.
Listening to you.
Mira,
I grabbed the
that's-
duffel, slung it over
She
my
slapped a
shoulder,
hand over
and
her
walked
mouth.
past all three
That's
of them.
real.
Mom
This
followed
is
me to
real.
the door.
I know.
Her voice breaking.
I said,
Maggie,
my
please.
voice shook.
You are
I
the only
actually
one
did
who keeps
something
this house
right.
together.
I signed
I
a lease on a
paused,
small one-bedroom
hand on
in
the
University
doorknob.
City.
That
Clean,
is the problem.
quiet,
Outside.
mine.
Sadie stepped out
When
of
the
the
realtor
car
handed
when she
me the
saw
keys,
You
she
okay?
said, "Congratulations."
I nodded once.
No one had
Yes,
ever said that
for
word to
the
me
first
without
time.
bitterness hiding behind
Yes.
it.
I
That
climbed
night,
into her
I stood
car,
alone in my new
closed
living room,
the door,
the city
and did not
humming
look back
faintly
as
through
we
the
pulled
windows.
away.
I
Sadie
thought of
pulled into
Selena's
the parking
smug
lot
smile,
of a small
Marlene's
extended stay
tired
motel off
accusations,
Russellville Road.
Stevens'
the kind of
silence.
place people
For the
stayed when
first
they were
time
between
in my
lives.
life,
She
none
cut
of
the
them
engine
felt
and
close
looked at
enough
me
to hurt
carefully.
me. And
You
for the
sure
first
you want to
time,
do this alone?
the future
I
felt
nodded,
like something I could
clutching
claim.
the duffel bag that held
the
the first
notification
belongings
tone
I
I
had
had
ever
through the
packed
quiet
just
of my
for
apartment
myself.
sharp.
I need to figure
Insistent.
out who I am
At
without
first,
them. I ignored
Inside
it.
the motel
Students
office,
messaged
a
me
tired
often
man
with last-minute
behind the counter
questions,
glanced at me,
but the buzzing
then at the
didn't
bag
stop.
over my shoulder.
It grew louder.
How many nights he
relentless,
asked?
until
Just a week.
finally I reached for my
said,
phone.
though I knew it
6
would be
missed
more.
calls from Marlene.
He handed me a key
8
card
from Selena.
Room 214.
3 from a number I didn't
Welcome
recognize.
aboard.
My
The way
chest
he said it
tightened.
flat,
Years
automatic,
of silence
made my chest
shattered
ache.
in a single
No
moment.
welcome had ever felt
The phone
real until
lit
that
up again.
moment.
When
Incoming
Sadie
call.
and I reached the door,
Mom,
she
against
squeezed my arm.
every instinct.
Call me if you need
I
anything.
answered.
I mean it.
Hello?
I know. Her breath
I tried to
rushed
smile.
through the speaker.
Thank you.
Mira, sweetheart.
She lingered.
Thank God. Your parents
We
are
had
going
been
to
trying
blow
to
up your
reach you.
phone. They
You have
already
not
have
tried.
in years. I held it
I
up.
said softly.
7 missed calls.
A pause.
All from home.
Then a thin,
You
trembling
do not have
voice.
to answer, she
We-
said firmly.
We
After
need
she
your
left,
help.
I stepped
There it
inside
was.
the room.
Not
It
an
smelled
apology.
faintly of detergent and
request.
old carpet.
What kind of
I
help
dropped
I
onto the
asked?
bed and let the
Marlene
silence
inhaled
settle shakily.
My phone
Your
buzzed
father.
again.
Mom's
Steven.
name flashed.
He lost
Then
his job at
Dad's.
the distribution
Then
center.
Wyatt's. They downsized.
turned it face down.
We have been living off
Hours
credit
later,
cards, and now everything
Sadie
is
came back
overdue.
with takeout
The
and sat on
balance
the
is
foot of the
over
bed.
$11,000, and your
I
sister,
nodded, though
my
the truth
tuition is
sat
short.
heavy in my throat.
Selena cut
It
in
feels
suddenly,
strange,
her voice
like I
breathless.
escaped something.
I need
But part of me thinks I
$8,700
should
for
go
the
back.
next semester,
Sadie
or they
leaned
will withdraw
closer.
me.
That is
Withdraw
not your
you,
guilt
I
speaking.
repeated.
That
And
is
that is
conditioning.
somehow my
I stared at
responsibility.
the ceiling.
You
Do you
are
think they
doing
will
well,
ever understand?
Marlene said quickly.
She shook
as
her
if she
head
could
gently.
outrun the accusation
They do
hiding
not need
underneath.
to.
We
You
saw your
just need to
website,
keep walking
your videos,
forward.
your course.
I exhaled
You are
slowly.
making good money.
I want a real
right
place,
enough to help your family.
a tiny studio,
I echoed.
my own dishes,
bitterness,
my
slipping
own
through.
silence.
Selena
And you will
spoke
have
again,
all of that.
shakier than
She
I
said,
remembered.
We are
Sooner than you
drowning,
think.
Mira. That night,
I know we weren't.
lying in the
We
stiff
didn't
motel
always
sheets.
treat you right.
I
but
felt the
you
unfamiliar
did not treat
weight
me
of
at all.
freedom pressing against
I
my
said,
ribs.
You
It was not
pretended I didn't
comfortable yet,
exist.
But it was
We were
mine.
stressed.
I moved out of the
Marlene
motel
snapped,
after 2
a
weeks,
crack in her
carrying
fragile tone.
everything I owned
Things
into
were
a tiny
hard.
studio apartment
You know
above
how
a bakery
families
downtown.
No,
The place was
I
barely
said,
bigger than my old
I know
bedroom.
how this family
But
was.
when I turned the key for the
line
first
went
time,
silent.
something
Not the
inside me
peaceful
lifted.
kind, more like the
On my
drop
second
before an
night there,
avalanche.
Sadie
Then
stopped
Stephen's
by
voice
with
came
2
through
paper
for the
cups of
first
coffee.
time in years.
You look different,
Quiet,
she said.
rough,
Different how?
Mira,
Like someone who
please,
finally gets
we
to
need you.
breathe.
My
I
throat
laughed
tightened
softly.
at the sound of him.
I am
but I
still
held the
figuring
line
out how
steady.
to do that.
You need
Work
money.
at the insurance office
said,
became an anchor.
Not me.
One afternoon,
We need both.
my supervisor,
Marlene whispered.
Mr. Langford,
We need you
called
to
me
come
into his
home.
cubicle.
Home.
You have been taking
The
on a
word
lot
felt
lately.
foreign in her
He
mouth.
said, clients
I am
request
not
you
your
by name.
solution.
I
I
stiffened.
said, is something
Not
wrong?
anymore.
He blinked.
Mira, Selena's
Surprised.
voice cracked.
Wrong.
Desperate.
No.
I ended the call before the
Maggie,
guilt could reach
I
me.
am giving you a raise.
The phone buzzed again.
A warmth
but I
spread
set
through
it
me.
face down on the
Unfamiliar
table.
and steady.
The past had
Thank you.
finally come knocking.
Truly.
And it wanted
You
something
earned
I
it,
wasn't sure
he
I was
replied.
willing to give.
Stop
The
acting
messages
shocked.
came in waves.
I told Sadie
Missed
over dinner
calls,
that night.
voicemails,
She nearly choked
long
on her
texts
fries
from numbers I didn't
You have
recognize.
been carrying everyone for years.
I ignored them until
Imagine
Selena's
what happens
name
when
lit
you
up my
carry
screen
only
again.
yourself.
Followed by
Later
another
that week,
notification.
a woman from
A
a
voice
local
message.
boutique asked
I
if I could
hesitated,
redesign her shop's
then
flyers.
pressed play.
She had
Her
seen the
voice
small
cracked
designs I
almost
posted online.
immediately.
How much
Mira,
do you charge?
I
she
know I
asked. hurt you.
I hesitated.
No one
had
had
asked me that before.
I do not even know why
Maybe
I acted that way.
$50.
Everything is falling apart now. For all that work, Mom keeps
make it
saying
150.
It is all my fault, and I will need
Dad
more
is barely
next month.
talking.
That moment
shaky breath.
changed everything.
I need help.
Within weeks,
Please.
I picked up more projects,
stared at the
restaurant
phone.
menus,
The sound
church
of her
event
crying
posters,
filling the
birthday
room.
invitations.
Part of me felt
Small
something
things,
twist, old
but mine,
instinct.
One
old
evening,
conditioning.
I sat on my studio
part of me
floor
that was trained
surrounded
to
by
soothe
papers and
her,
my laptop.
protect her,
The window
fix
rattled
things for
slightly
her.
as a train passed
I
in the
typed
distance.
slowly. Sadie
You
called.
never cared when I needed
Still
help.
working.
Why should I care now?
I
sent
said,
it before I could
smiling
soften
to
it.
myself.
Seconds
And
later,
for once,
my phone rang again.
It feels like
This
work.
time I answered.
chose.
She
Selena's
hummed
breath
approvingly.
hitched. Feels
Mira,
good.
please do not
Does
do
it
this.
not?
We are
It
your
feels
family. Real?
You were my family.
I said quietly.
I said,
Like I am
past
becoming
tense.
someone I did not
You
think
cannot
I
still
could
be.
be angry about things
She
from high
paused
school on the line.
It was not
That is
high
because
school.
you are finally
I
becoming
said,
Maggie Turner.
it was
not
my entire
the Turner their house
childhood.
needed. Silence
But the Turner
stretched. You were meant
I could
to
hear
be.
her swallow hard.
I closed my eyes.
We were kids.
letting her
She
words
murmured.
settle. Marlene was
For the
not a
first
kid.
time
I
in my
replied.
life.
Stephen
The
was not a
future
kid.
did not look
and
like a
you.
duty.
My
It
voice
looked
cracked,
like possibility.
but I pushed through it.
By the time
you knew
autumn
exactly
eased into
what you
winter,
were doing. My life had
exhaled
settled into something
shakily.
steady. I am sorry.
Not perfect.
Now
not
you
glamorous.
are sorry.
But mine.
I said,
I had my
because you
studio.
need something.
My job.
I am trying.
My freelance work.
She whispered.
And a growing sense
I am trying
that maybe
to fix
escape
everything.
had been possible all along.
It is not mine to
then
fix.
The messages
Another
started.
pause. This one
it
longer.
began with Mom.
Heavier.
We miss
Mira,
you,
she
sweetheart.
said. Voice breaking.
I stared at the text.
If you do not
the
help,
unfamiliar softness
I might
in her
lose
words.
everything.
I did not reply.
You already lost me.
A week later,
I said quietly.
Dad sent a shorter
years
one.
ago.
Call home.
Her sob caught on
I
the
turned
line.
my phone over and
raw
let it buzz
and
until it
small.
stopped.
I closed
Sadie
my
glanced
eyes,
at me one night while we
steadying
folded
my
laundry
breathing.
together. I am done
You okay?
being the one you all
They are
use when
reaching
things
out,
fall apart.
I said.
More than before.
Mira, please.
She studied my face.
No. And you
said,
are waiting for the catch.
Not this time.
I nodded.
I ended the call
catch
gently.
arrived 2 days
Not
later.
out of cruelty.
Wyatt texted
clarity.
me a photo of the Camry.
For the first
the
time,
front bumper crushed
the boundary
inward.
held.
Small
3
accident.
minutes later.
Insurance
my phone
went
buzzed
up crazy
again,
high.
but this time,
Dad is
I did not
stressing.
reach for it.
Call us.
I was halfway
A
through
second
answering
message
student
followed.
emails when my
You left
building's
at the worst
intercom
time.
buzzed one sharp,
Sis.
unexpected ring
I
that
felt
made
a
my
hollow
pulse
tug
kick.
in my chest.
Ms.
The old guilt
Dalton,
trying to surface.
The security guard
But
said.
I typed back.
His voice
I hope
cautious.
everyone is safe.
There are 3
Nothing
people
more.
downstairs insisting
That
they are
evening,
your family.
Mom called.
A woman named Marlene.
I let it go to voicemail.
A man named
but
Stephen.
her voice trembled
And
through the speaker.
A younger woman.
Maggie.
The room
Your
tilted
dad's
for a
hours at
moment.
work have been cut.
Do you want me to turn
the
them
loan
away?
payment is
He
higher
asked.
now. Wyatt
A
is
long
struggling.
breath left
We
me.
need you.
No.
Need.
I
Not
will come
want.
down.
Not miss.
My legs felt stiff as I
Need.
walked to the
Sadie
elevator.
walked in
By
as
the
the
time I
message
reached
ended
the
and
lobby,
raised an eyebrow.
the doors slid
Let me
open to a
guess.
sight I had
They want
replayed in
help.
my head for years.
I handed her the
but
phone.
never like this.
They say they are
Marlene
falling
stood
behind.
near the glass windows.
And what do you
Her
say
eyes
that I
red and
cannot
swollen.
fix it?
Her coat
She
wrinkled
nodded
like she had
slowly.
slept in it.
Say it
Stephen
again.
hovered behind her.
I cannot
hands
fix it.
nervously
I
twisting the
repeated,
strap of a worn
softer
backpack.
at first.
Selena looked
stronger.
the smallest I
The
had
calls
ever seen
became
her.
more frequent.
Shoulders
Dad
caved
left a
inward.
voicemail next.
Mascara smudged.
The bank is breathing down our
Marlene
necks.
stepped forward
We
immediately.
would appreciate anything
Mira,
you can do.
thank God.
You know we trusted
thought you never answered.
Trusted
We did
me
not
like I
know
had
what
broken
else
a
to do.
contract I never signed.
Showing up here was
A
not
few
the
nights
answer.
later,
I
Wyatt
said,
sent another message.
She flinched
Mom
at the
is
hardness
crying
in my
every day.
voice. Dad
We
is
drove
furious.
all night.
You
We-
walking out made everything
we needed
worse.
to talk.
I stared
Selena's
at the words
voice
until
came
they
out
blurred.
thin.
Sadie touched my
Please.
shoulder.
A group of
They are trying
students
to drag
passed
you back
behind
into the
me,
role you escaped.
laughing as they walked
I know.
outside.
I whispered.
For a moment,
And the worst
I wondered
part
how
is,
strange we must look.
they think
3
it is my
broken people
responsibility.
facing the daughter they once
Outside
pretended
my
did not
window.
exist.
I could hear
I
the bakery
swallowed.
downstairs closing
Let's
for
go
the
somewhere
night.
private.
The metal gate rolling
We rode
down.
the elevator in
Life
silence.
moving on.
When the doors
Even when
closed
people
behind us on
refused
my
to.
floor,
I turned my
Marlene
phone off.
touched the frame
It was
gently,
the first boundary
like she
I
was
set
afraid
without
even the
apologizing
walls
for
might
it.
reject her.
The breaking point
Inside
arrived
my
on a
apartment,
Thursday evening.
no one
Just
sat.
after I got home
They
from
lingered
work.
near the door
I had
as though
barely
they
taken off
expected
my
to be
shoes
thrown
when
out.
Wyatt's name flashed
Stephen
across
spoke
my screen.
first. Voice
Before I could
low.
decide whether to ignore
Mira,
it,
I am
another
sorry.
message came through.
I froze.
You really going to
He
let
had
us
never
drown
said
like
those
this?
words
Family
to me
helps
ever.
family.
I should have
Then,
stepped in.
A third.
He continued.
You are selfish.
I should have protected
Maggie.
you. I did
Selfish.
not. I
From
let
the
things
boy
get
who had never
worse
cleaned
than
a
they
dish
should
in
have
his
been.
life.
Marlene
I
looked at him
typed
sharply,
slowly,
then back at me.
I helped for more than 10
We made
years.
mistakes. But
I
we are
am
trying
done
to fix
being
them
your
now.
safety net.
You are trying to
His
survive.
response was almost
I said,
immediate.
There is a
think you are
difference.
better than us now.
Selena swallowed hard.
You moved out and
I know
suddenly
you
you
hate
are
me.
some kind of
I do
hero.
not
I
hate
breathed
you.
out.
I said,
Steady,
but I just finally stopped breaking myself to make you comfortable.
I am finally
Tears
living.
welled in her eyes.
Wyatt sent one last message.
If I do not pay for next
Dad
semester,
is losing
they
it.
will remove me from the program.
This is on you.
I am trying.
My stomach twisted.
Mira,
but before the guilt could take root,
everything.
Sadie knocked on my
is
door.
falling apart.
I brought tacos.
Marlene stepped
closer,
said,
walking
"Please.
in.
You have
Then
resources
she paused
we do
at
not.
my expression.
You can help us get
What
back on our
happened
feet."
now? I handed her
And
my
then
phone.
what I asked,
She read
you
the
go
text,
back to pretending
jaw
I do not
tightening.
matter. Classic
Her face
deflection.
crumpled.
They make
That
the
is
mess.
not fair.
You take the blame.
I let out a breath.
They think I owe them a rescue.
Fair.
You
I
told
murmured.
me the family would
Sadie
be better
set the
off
phone
without
down.
me.
Do you want
That
to call
was
them?
years
No.
ago,
She
she
said.
whispered.
And
But they
it
are
was
not
enough.
going to stop.
Stephen
Right
cleared
on
his
cue.
throat.
My
We
phone
drove
buzzed
all this
again
way
this time.
because,
Mom,
because we need
I
you.
declined the call.
No,
It rang
I
again.
said,
Then
you
again.
need my money.
Finally,
For a moment,
I answered.
no one
Her
spoke.
voice cracked
The
immediately.
truth settled in the room.
Maggie, we
Uncomfortable
are in real
and
trouble.
undeniable.
Your dad's
Selena's
hours were cut
voice
again.
cracked.
The bank
I am
keeps
begging
calling about
you.
the loan.
I felt something
Insurance on
flicker,
the
an
car
old
is
ache.
almost
A
triple.
version of me
I
who would
stayed
have
silent.
folded instantly.
She pushed on.
But she was
Wyatt
gone.
cannot handle this.
I cannot
He is
save
falling
you.
apart.
I said
He
quietly.
needs his sister.
Not this
He
time.
needs to grow up.
I
Marlene's
said
breath
softly,
hitched,
like
there
the
was a
air had been
stunned
knocked
pause.
out of her.
Maggie,
Stephen closed his eyes.
you know your brother is
Selena's
fragile.
shoulders shook.
No.
They looked at me like
Mom,
I was the last
said,
door in a burning
gripping
building.
the edge of my counter
and
to steady
still,
myself.
I did not open it.
He is spoiled.
For a long moment,
and you made him that way.
None of us moved.
She gasped.
My family
like I had
stood
slapped
clustered
her.
near the doorway.
How dare
looking
you
at
say
me as
that?
if I
Because
held
it
the
is
last
true.
oxygen tank in
Her
a
voice
sinking
rose.
ship.
The
Trembling.
same people who
Do
once
you
told
want
me
us
I
to
would
lose
lose
the
the
house?
house now
Is
stared
that
at
what
me
you
with
want?
a kind of fragile
I want you to take
desperation
responsibility.
that almost
I said
softened
quietly.
something in my chest.
For once,
Almost.
I heard muffled shouting in the
Marlene
background.
reached for me first.
Dad,
Mira,
Then he
please.
grabbed the phone.
We can start over.
Maggie,
we can
he
make
said,
this right.
breath heavy.
You cannot
Your
undo
mother
what
is
was
right.
done.
We need you.
I said,
That is
my
what family
voice
does.
stayed level.
They show up.
Even as my pulse
I did
hammered.
show up.
You
I
cannot
said,
rewrite the
my
years you
voice
ignored
low.
me.
For
Stephen
years,
stepped forward.
I showed
his
up
hands
every time
shaking
you needed
slightly.
something.
Even when I was
understand
drowning.
that.
And none of
I
you
know
cared.
we failed you. Dad's
His voice
tone
cracked.
hardened. But
You
we are
cannot
asking
hold a
for
grudge
chance.
forever.
You
We
are
apologized.
asking for relief.
No, I
I
replied.
said, you
Those
panicked.
are not the same
That
thing.
is not the same
Selena
thing.
wiped her face.
He
with
let
her
out a
sleeve.
bitter exhale.
I know I was horrible.
Fine.
I know
if you
that.
want to abandon
but
us,
I am trying to
say
change.
My
I do
heart
not
thudded
want
painfully.
to lose everything.
I am not
I looked at
abandoning
her
you.
carefully.
I am choosing
Once,
myself.
I would have moved
Another
heaven and
long
earth to keep her
silence.
safe.
Then he
Once,
said,
I believed
quieter.
she might one
We
day
raised
see
you
me as
better than
something
this.
more than the person who
I
cleaned up her
swallowed.
messes. You raised me
You
to serve
already
this family.
lost me.
Not
I said
to live.
softly. Dad
Selena's
tried once
breath
more.
caught small.
If you come home
sharp,
tonight,
like a
we
wound
can fix
tearing
this.
open.
I closed
Marlene
my eyes.
bristled. I am
You would
not
really watch
coming
your family
back.
fall apart like this.
He muttered
I
something
met
I
her
could not
eyes.
make out.
You watched
Then
me
the
fall
line
apart
went
for
dead.
years.
My
That
hands
silenced
trembled
her.
as I set the phone
I
down.
walked to my bookshelf
Sadie
and
pulled
pulled
out
me
the
into a
small,
hug before I
frayed
could fall
journal
apart.
I had filled throughout my
That
childhood.
was brave.
The one I
she
hid
whispered.
underneath the loose
It hurts.
floorboard. The
I
one
admitted.
Marlene once called
Of
dramatic
course it
nonsense
does.
when she found
You
it
are
and
breaking
threw it
a pattern
away.
older than you
Not
are.
realizing I had
An
pulled it
hour
from
later,
the trash. The
I
phone
held
rang
it
again
out from an unfamiliar
Marlene
number.
stared at it like it burned.
I answered without thinking.
What is that?
Hi,
Everything?
Dad
I
said.
said.
Voice
Every
suddenly
night
tired.
I cried myself to
I
sleep.
used the landline.
Every time you believed
said nothing.
Selena over me.
We messed up.
Every moment I
continued.
spent wishing someone,
All of us.
anyone would choose
We depended
me.
on you too much.
She reached for it
I am not proud of
hesitantly.
it. The apology
Read it.
landed somewhere
I
deep,
said,
but not deep
every
enough to
page
undo
is a
anything.
reason I cannot go
We
back.
want you back, he
Selena
said.
whispered.
Your mother,
Mira,
your brother,
please
me.
do not do this.
We want our family
I
whole
stepped
again.
back, gripping the
Whole.
door handle.
The word
I built my
stung.
life without you.
I am
Now
not coming
you
back.
can build yours without
I repeated,
me.
softer
Tears
this time, but
streamed
no less
down
firm.
Selena's cheeks.
A long exhale.
Stephen lowered his
Then-
head. Marlene
Then I hope
clutched
someday
the
you
journal
forgive
as if
us.
it weighed 100
I hope
pounds.
someday you understand.
I am done.
I said
when the call
quietly.
ended,
Goodbye.
I stood in the quiet
And
of
I
my little
closed the
studio,
door gently,
breathing in air
not
that finally
angrily,
felt like my
but
own,
with finality
not
that
peaceful,
settled deep in
not
my
easy.
bones. On
But
the other
mine.
side,
6
I heard
months
someone
after that
gasp.
last call,
Then
I
muffled
packed 2
voices,
suitcases and moved
then
to a one-bedroom
footsteps fading
apartment
down
in
the
Louisville.
hall.
A
Inside
promotion
my
had
apartment,
opened at our company's
silence
larger branch,
settled like a
and for the
clean
first
breath.
time,
The
I
boundary
said yes
held,
without without wondering who needed me back home.
Quietly.
Sadie helped me carry boxes up the narrow stairwell.
You realize,
my SAT course
she
expanded
said,
into
grinning,
a small online
academy.
academy. All of it.
For the first time,
I am still getting used to
hired
that.
2 part-time tutors to help manage the overflow of students.
I stood in the middle of the empty
brought in
living
more than
room,
$22,000.
listening to the soft hum of the fridge
Steady
and the
and
quiet
clean.
outside.
Earned without
No
permission
shouting.
from anyone
No
who once
guilt.
doubted me.
No one calling
One
my name to
afternoon,
fix something.
I met Jordan at a cafe a few blocks from my building.
A single text
She grinned
from
as she
Mom.
slid into
We
the
hope
chair.
you are okay.
You realize
Dad
you built
sent
this from
another
a
a
room
week
with
later.
peeling paint.
We miss you.
Right.
Wyatt
That
never
is
wrote at all.
insane.
I
It
did not
feels
reply,
like someone
but I
else's
did not
life.
delete the messages
I
either.
admitted.
They were
No,
reminders of a
she
life I
said.
survived.
It is yours.
Not a life I
You
had to
fought for
return
it.
to. Her words
One
settled
evening,
inside me
after
warm
finishing
in a
a
way I
freelance
was
design
still learning
project.
to trust.
I clicked my
When I got
desk lamp
home,
off and leaned
my
back,
laptop
letting
chimed.
myself breathe in
A
the
new
silence
email
I had
from an
earned.
address I knew
I
too
thought
well.
about every person
From
out there
Marlene
holding up
Dalton,
an entire
subject if you
household
ever want to
alone.
talk.
Believing
I
they
stared
have
at
no
the way
line.
out, not
To
with
anyone
anger,
listening,
not with
anyone
longing,
who has ever been
just
the invisible
stillness.
backbone.
I
Your
closed
life
the laptop.
is yours.
My story
Your
was
freedom
no
is
longer
real,
tied to people who
and
only
you
saw me
deserve
when they
more
needed saving.
than survival.
I had
If my
built
story
something
sounds like
strong,
yours,
something that
stay with
belonged
me.
entirely to
There are
me.
more roads forward
And as
than
I
you think.
stood in the soft hush of my apartment, I felt a surprising pull not toward the past, but toward every person listening now who has ever felt small in their own home. If you have ever been the forgotten one, the quiet one, the one who had to rebuild from nothing, stay with me. There is more to tell, and I want you here for all of it.